It's time now for our Ask the Mayor program, the program that comes to you every Thursday, giving you a chance to get your questions answered when it comes to city issues here for Beatrice. And as always, we'll welcome in Mayor Stan Wirth. Good morning, Stan. How are you today?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doug Kennedy is on assignment this morning, so you get me in the hot seat today. So
I'll take it.
You know, I filled in one time for Doug and then Chief Lang, our police chief. Was the guest. You were not able to make it. And I know Chief says, I feel kind of like the wrestling. We're kind of the second team here or whatever. And I said, yeah, I kind of feel that way too.
Well, you're the first team today.
All righty. Well, thanks for coming in this morning. A little chilly for us this morning. Boy, it's a cold one today, isn't it?
It is. And, I like you a lot better when it's 50 degrees in the forecast. But whatever, we'll take it. And it's supposed to be 50 degrees on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, so we're going to just get through this, warm back up. But yeah, tell you what, amazing that this last Monday we were topping off at 61, and here we are this morning, a wind chill of about 15 below.
Big change. Yeah.
Big change. All right, we got a few things we want to touch on here this morning with the mayor, and we do want to encourage folks that if they do have a question, you can call us at 402-228-5923. Want to touch off, first of all, with the community survey for downtown. I know there is a survey that you're working with to kind of get the feelings of the residents and talk a little bit about what downtown revitalization is all about. Yeah. Kind of give us a little update on this.
Sure. So there is some University of Nebraska students, or graduate students, that are spearheading a look at our community to help us utilize the downtown revitalization grant that we received, and now we're currently asking community members to fill out a survey. What you hear mostly is that we have empty buildings downtown. We have situations downtown that maybe isn't more pedestrian friendly. So this gives the general public an opportunity to kind of weigh in on that. We're looking at ways of trying to make everything just a little more fluent in our downtown area. Our challenge is that we have two U.S. highways that intersect our downtown, and that becomes a real challenge. And so do we take a look at rerouting traffic? That was done several years ago, met with some opposition, but only minor opposition at that time. And I think if that would come up again, there is a strong possibility that we'd take another look at it. Of course, the Department of Transportation would have to get involved in that kind of a process. But right now, this class is trying to accomplish two things at once. On one hand, they're trying to look at the comprehensive revitalization plan, and on the other hand, this gives those students kind of the experience of urban planning and allows them to interact with community members to try to determine what is best for this downtown area.
I was going to take a look at the survey this morning. Time got away from me. What are some of the questions that are being asked? Do you know right offhand?
Yeah, and I actually took the survey, and, for the life of me, I can't think of what any of those questions were. But I think it was, what would you like to see? There was a rating process that you go through on what you think is most important to least important, and then giving your suggestions on what you think there should be. Now, we would hope that the suggestions aren't a women's store or a men's store, because that's completely a different element, because you're going to have somebody that has an entrepreneurial spirit. You're going to have somebody with some money to do those types of things. But in an effort to try to enhance our downtown area, shoppability has to be one of those that certainly is at forefront, pedestrian friendly, so you're not negotiating not only car traffic but heavy truck traffic and that kind of thing. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. The city's website is where you can go, or their Facebook page, and fill out the survey.
As far as the timeline here, what are we looking at? When are you going to close up the survey and put the results together?
I think in May they're going to have some results, and we'll take a look at those results and kind of try to digest what the grad students have come up with. They've done other programs like this, I think, in Syracuse, Nebraska, and in David City. Those were a couple of other sites that they did basically a study and asked the community to weigh in on kind of what they thought was important for their area. And this only affects the downtown area.
I think, if I recall, a few years ago, I lose track of time, but a few years ago, as you were saying, there was a kind of a talk of a plan of, I think, moving traffic to the south of downtown, moving it around, some sort of a...
Moving it over to Market Street.
Yes, right.
And take it up Market Street, say, from around 2nd Street, moving it up Market Street to about 9th Street, and then back onto Court Street. That was kind of the plan at that time. Again, met with some opposition from some of the storefront owners. I think that has changed considerably, at least from some of the comments that I've received.
All right. So, again, we can go to Facebook or the website for the city and take about how long? 10 minutes maybe for the survey?
It doesn't take that long.
It doesn't take that long. Huh?
Well, it depends on, there are a couple of almost essay questions, just asking you what your opinion is, and you've got a space to weigh in on that. So it takes just as long as you want it to.
All right. Okay. Again, that's on the city's website or their Facebook page. BPW had a meeting yesterday. One of the discussions that you had, and I know, I think you've brought this up before we discussed on the mayor's program, is the study of the Lincoln Street project. We were just talking beforehand. This is a big project, isn't it? This is going to be a big project.
It would be, and it goes from along Lincoln Street, from 5th Street all the way to about 22nd Street. We interviewed a couple of architects, I beg your pardon, engineering firms. A couple of weeks ago, we chose, or one came to the forefront, JEO Engineering. That will be on our city council agenda for Monday night to ratify the agreement with them. I think the cost is about $109,000 to do a study of Lincoln Street, that entire corridor. And what we're going to ultimately end up with is what the architects or the engineers will come up with. The intent really is to evaluate the entire corridor. The intersection at 6th and Lincoln Street is one that will be what we think is important. You kind of have a little bit of a goofy jog that goes through there. It just kind of makes the traffic just a little wonky. So that study is going to include that intersection, also include the intersection at 19th and Lincoln, 19th and Lincoln, to determine, do we want some type of a four-way stop? Do we want more distinctive traffic lights? It may not be an issue if elementary schools all move further to the east. And so that could be something that simplifies our situation just a little bit, because during certain hours you can't turn right, you can't turn left, and it's just, again, a situation where we have to better define what we currently have. They'll look at the traffic volume. It is a street that bears an awful lot of traffic. Whether or not there should be accommodations for maybe a bike lane within the street's path. Don't know that I'm in favor of that, simply because it's not that wide of a street. Whether there should be turn lanes and how it impacts the property owners. Is there going to be additional ground that is going to be utilized? Is one side of it going to be a bike pedestrian trail? And so there's a lot of things that will enter into it. They'll come up with about 4 solutions. And then I think in June they're going to have their report available, and we'll present it to the city council.
All right. Yeah. Like you said, that the Lincoln Street is a really one of the major traffic areas here in town, isn't it?
It's a busy thoroughfare.
It is.
I think 4,700, 4,800 vehicles on a daily basis. So that's impactful in a community when, first of all, not only weighing in on the study, but then if you're going to do any construction work, are you going to do it in phases? Are you going to do the entire thing at one time? That's going to be a major interruption, and then there's other thoroughfares that are going to have to be used. So navigating through all of this is part of the study, and that's what we're paying for.
All right. And you said by June they should have their study wrapped up.
Should have it pretty well wrapped up. My guess is the end of June we will, as a city council, at least see what they come up with.
I'm kind of curious here before I take a break. I know you brought this up. Have you heard anything from any Lincoln Street residents? Have you heard anything at all?
Not yet, and that's going to be part of the study that JEO is doing for us, is that they will then reach out to property owners. And they have a marketing department that actually goes and they will contact individuals to the best of their ability. If they cannot reach those individuals, they'll knock on their door and give them a survey sheet to fill out, or just simply ask them questions.
Okay. I didn't know, maybe since all this discussion started a while back, if your phone had rang a couple times from any residents or not. So.
No, it really hasn't. I mean, we're just in the very beginning stages. First of all, we haven't even hired them. Yeah. We're going to do, hopefully we do that Monday night. So once we hire them, then they will swing into action and do what they do.
All right, 8:41. Let's take a short break. We'll come back, have more with Ask the Mayor. Back on Ask the Mayor. Mayor Stan Wirth with us this morning as we visit on different city issues and such. One of the things I just wanted to touch on a little bit too this morning was the use of seasonal labor here for the city of Beatrice as far as job openings, job positions, and use of seasonal labor such as working in the parks and such. How's that been for the city?
Actually, Mark Pethod, our public properties manager, has been real proactive in getting the word out to high school students, to other individuals who have helped us in the past, who have helped us in the past to determine whether or not they're going to come back this next year and assist us, and that has been and proven to be very successful. We've looking for lifeguards, people to mow our city properties, and any other types of positions that could be filled. Also looking for some crew leaders, those that have had experience or those that are trainable to manage some different crews. Those that are mowing our city property, all of those individuals have indicated they're going to come back, and that's good news. And we're also looking for someone to kind of manage some of the weekend duties and paying $15 an hour for that position. And some people don't want to give up their weekends. Others really don't care if there's some money to be made. There's not a lot of time that has to be spent in those weekend hours, so that is an opportunity for somebody. I know that Mrs. Arena at the swimming pool has her crews pretty well lined up. I think we've got some 10 to 15 people already lined up for those positions, looking for a couple of part-time managers. So all in all, I think that process is going real well.
Yeah, it's one of those things where pool's not going to open up for quite a while, and a park doesn't need mowed for a while, but you do need to plan ahead to get these people on board, don't you?
Well, especially in the job market that we are facing today, where it's difficult to find individuals, and you're in competition with other retail outlets and other commercial outlets, that it's a challenge sometimes. So sounds like I'm going through puberty. Sorry. A few allergies.
It's the cold weather. We'll blame it on the cold weather.
Maybe that's
it.
But all in all, I think we've we're in a pretty good spot, and I think we've got our positions lined up.
If an individual is interested on your job openings, are they posted on the website, or how can they find out about that?
Just go to the city's website.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about concrete work this year. 4th Street, Lincoln Street, got a couple blocks. What are we looking at here as far as work there?
It's just between 4th and 5th Street on Lincoln Street. It's going to be concrete reconstruction project. I think it is going to be a 8-inch concrete process with curb and gutter, and it's something that has been needed for some time, and that's going to take place. We haven't actually put it out for bids yet. I think it is out for bids. We haven't received them back yet, and so that project will be something that will be undertaken yet this summer.
Okay, all right. Speaking of street work, how about armor coat work on the streets this year? I know you've always got various spots that you work on.
There's quite a few spots for armor coating. Matter of fact, I think there's like almost 10 different locations that we're going to concentrate on. And we did just at the Board of Public Works meeting, they're going to award the bid to Top Coat Construction, who has been in our community before. And their bid was $67,000, and I think the engineer's estimate was right at that $68,000 to $69,000 range, so fell right into place with what our engineer's estimate was. And there's 12th Street, Lincoln to Garfield, 13th, Arthur to Lincoln, and then there is a whole litany of other streets that will be covered under the armor coating process.
All right. Okay, 8:48. We'll take a break, come back. We got Clean City Week to talk about, I think. Have the dates been set?
They have.
I think they've been set, so we'll talk more about that coming up. We are back on our Ask the Mayor program. A few minutes left in our show today. Got a couple things here that we want to touch on. Clean City Week. In fact, you just made the announcement yesterday at the BPW meeting. You decided on dates, didn't you?
They're going to be May the 9th through the 11th, and then a follow-up cleanup day on the 12th if that's needed. And being a little sympathetic to visitors coming in from out of town on the 15th for graduation. So we want to get all of the debris and everything picked up prior to out-of-town guests coming in, just to make our community look a little better. And again, mattresses is kind of the big issue that has come up again, surfaced again, trying to figure out some type of a way that we can utilize this service for our Beatrice citizens who are paying for the clean up week, and try to avoid those large vehicles coming in from, or the trailers coming in filled with mattresses from out of county, out of state, believe it or not. And the Board of Public Works is kind of digesting exactly how they want to do that, whether or not everything is taken to the landfill, that process, or continue to use the service and the location that we have in the past. Just trying to figure out how to streamline it just a little bit. And again, you have a program like this and it's free, there's always going to be some abuses, and we try to mitigate that as much as we possibly can. But by the same token, we don't want these mattresses laying out in the county someplace either. So there is a little bit of a method to our madness, but by the same token, it's always a popular event. There's things that are limited that you can put out, and the general public, for the most part, knows that. Those will be certainly published on the website. We'll talk about it on Ask the Mayor program. You guys will talk about it on the radio. But again, dates are May 9th through the 11th, with a cleanup date, if needed, on the 12th.
Will it be work done just very similar in the past years, where you call in and give your address for pickup? And
absolutely need to register. That is extremely important. You don't want to leave your lawnmower out on the front yard and we come by and pick it up and you're going, hey, I was using that. I was just taking a break. So we want to make sure that everything's registered and limits our liability that way.
I know last year we did it in the fall. It was in October last year.
We did. There was a couple of reasons why. One of them was the construction of the bridge railing on West Court Street, which on South 6th Street we're going to do a bridge railing replacement this year. That's something that's been sorely needed for a long, long time. And I'm kind of digressing or changing subjects here just a little bit. But then we also took over the garbage collection services, and that took some additional time away from our street department. So we're going to try to get back on schedule, do it in the spring.
again, like you said, always a very popular event, and it is amazing how much stuff is out there that people need to get rid of. So,
You're right. Yep.
And like you said, it's this is just a fine gesture from the city. I mean, it's not a thing where we have to pay. So it's a free deal.
That is correct.
Free deal. All right. Final couple minutes here. I mentioned at the beginning of the program, joking there about Police Chief Bruce Lang. Of course, he has announced that he is going to be retiring. So where are we at on the process for finding a replacement?
Sure. The applications have gone out. They went out the end of January. And we will receive applications up until February 28th. And at that time, we will review those applications. Then on, I think it's March 15th, our first round of interviews will take place. Those interviews will be conducted by police chiefs and individuals from our community and the Civil Service Commission. The Civil Service Commission then the following day will submit their top 3 candidates. And then there will be a second round of interviews by the mayor and the city council on March 29th. And by April 18th, at a city council meeting, we hope to appoint a new police chief. Bruce Lang's position is going to be open on June 3rd. That's the date of his retirement, June 3rd or 4th, can't remember exactly. And the salary range for this position is between $80,000 and $116,000. That is in the same range of some other 10 communities that we surveyed within the state of Nebraska that are similar in size, larger in size, and smaller in size. And so we kind of took an average and came up with the $80,000 to $116,000.
Anticipating a lot of applications? What do you think the interest will be?
We hope we have 10 to 15 applications, and then we will narrow that down. Again, the top 3 candidates will be interviewed by the Civil Service Commission on March 16th, so that process goes pretty rapidly.
All right. And again, we're looking at first part of June there. So you said what, the 3rd, 4th, 2nd or 3rd, that Chief Lang will be done?
I think his last day is June 4th. I think that's a Friday.
We'll need to get him in here to have a little special program and recap his many years. He's done a wonderful job for Beatrice.
He has been a really solid representative of our community, and I think it's something that sometimes gets overlooked on the processes that he has to go through, the management of individuals, including a 911 response center, not only for Beatrice, but for Creed and for Richardson County. So it's a big job. So that's going to be one of the qualifications that we're looking for in a new police chief, is have they managed some type of a 911 center and the people that are involved in that process.
All right. We'll look forward as this process moves along here then. Okay, we got just a little bit left. City Council meeting is coming up on Monday night, I believe. So what do we have? I know we've talked a couple of things that will be on the agenda, such as the consulting firm for the Lincoln project. Mm-hmm. But what else do we have on the agenda for Monday night?
A couple of other things. We're going to final pay request to ditch diggers who changed the waterline status just northwest of Beatrice, where they put it under the river as opposed to having it tied to a river bridge. Thought was that river bridge goes out, so does that water line, and that's a major water line that brings water into our community. So we made that change. We have a final pay request there. The Girls Softball Association is wanting to the Beatrice Girls Softball Association is wanting to build a new batting cage at Hannibal Park. They've already put $5,000 towards this project, with a commitment of another $15,000 to assist in the construction of a second batting cage. It's a very popular venue for the high school. It is a popular venue for any softball team, baseball team that's out there. So that is something that will be considered. Also approving an emergency shelter activities program through Blue Valley Community Action. That is something that is done, I think, every 6 years. They applied for renewal of funding from the Nebraska Homeless Assistance Program. For them to offer those services in Beatrice, that has to be approved by our city council, or at least promoted by our city council. There's not an actual homeless shelter in Beatrice, so Blue Valley Community Action utilizes the local motels to help provide shelters to the homeless in Gage County, and specifically Beatrice because we've got the highest volume.
Meeting time 7?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, Monday
Correct.
night. Mayor, we're out of time. Thank you so much for coming in, sharing information with us this morning.
Thanks, David.